Hey, how's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Good evening, good evening. And this is a special edition. I know y'all not used to seeing us on a Thursday night, but we had to get this young lady on. Hey, listen up. My name is Eric McKinley. I am the Director of Program Development of National Business Builders. And tonight we have a special broadcast for you tonight. So as you hop on, do me a favor, drop your city and your state, like it, share it, and definitely tag someone. And I'm going to allow our guest to get on her platform. Go ahead. You can go ahead right now, Miss Erica, and you can actually go to our page, our actual business page, and you can go ahead and share it to your platform. And I'm going to be sharing to some people as well.
Okay.
I am so happy that you allowed me to sit down and have a conversation with you tonight. Okay.
And actually, I shared it an hour ago because I know when you use this platform, it'll go live from there. It's kind of like a reminder. So I shared it an hour ago. My people are already on it.
Absolutely. All right. So you're all over it. So
Yeah.
let me go ahead and I'm going to share it to my main page because there's some people that I want to tag, specifically my wife. Want to make sure she's tagged on here as well. And we have some other people that I want to make sure that see this as well. So give me 1 second. Okay. And I am going to tag a few people. So like I said, guys, as you jump on, drop your city and state, like it, share it, tag someone. Let them know that we are out here talking about business. We're talking about life. We're talking about faith. We're talking about everything that makes us tick. Okay. Let me hit my buddy, Miss Frazier. Let her get some of this as well.
Yeah, she just on my page.
I got some other people on here as well. Hey, listen, we're going to share this and tag some people because we want people to hear what it is that you have to say, okay?
Okay.
So give me a couple of more, and then we're going to introduce you and let you do your thing. So, and charge it to my head, ladies and gentlemen, not my heart. If I haven't tagged you, it's nothing personal, but you know I can only get 49, I believe, on here. So I'm on my phone. So just be patient and bear with us as we go forward. Okay. So I am tagging and that's it. I'm done. So are you good to go?
I'm good to go. Yes, sir. Thank you for having me this evening.
Well, I appreciate it. So if you guys are just jumping on, like I said, my name is Eric McKinley. I'm the Director of Program Development of National Business Builders. And this is Talking Business with NBB. We have a very special guest on this evening. We usually don't broadcast on Thursday, but I asked her specifically to allow me to share this platform with her and her share her story with us as her journey as she goes through her entrepreneur journey and business. So we have Miss Erica Alcox. You're out of Charleston, yes?
I'm out of Charleston and living in Atlanta.
Okay, out of Charleston, originally living in Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm just gonna let you go ahead and introduce yourself. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, Erica Alcox, a Charleston native that has moved to Atlanta to pursue all of these hopes and dreams and aspirations that I have of building a legacy, not only just for my family, as I'm a solo parent, I have a teenage son, and but also providing an incubator for other households to be able to do the same, because we're all in this world together wanting the best for our loved ones. And so that is my reason for breathing, is to make things so, to fulfill my purpose, walk my path, and whoever I can uplift and equip and empower along the way, then that is what I do. I own Alcox Enterprises, which is pretty much a collective of all of the gifts and talents that I have. You know how the saying goes, in society, they say, you know, just jack of all trades, master of none. However, they forget to finish out the statement, because sometimes doing things better than a master of one. So I don't dismiss all of the things that make my heart flutter, that allows me to have a platform where people who are looking for my voice can hear what I have to say, engage themselves with the things I have to offer, and enhance their lives. So Alcox Enterprises is comprised of Charleston Crunch Company, which is my food production company. I also have government contracting that I do that allows me to give opportunities to other businesses that may not have gone through the procedures, the protocols in order to receive government contracts, and to spread that wealth. Also, I have the business, life and business coaching services that I offer called Okra Soup Truth, where we talk about the uncomfortable but very necessary conversations that we all need to have, especially in the entrepreneurial journey that we all have. You're faced with a lot of challenges that you may not ever encounter as a civilian, going 9 to 5. And, it's a whole different set of challenges that you face as an entrepreneur. So with my life and business coaching, I'm able to help individuals answer questions for themselves and gain clarity and ask the questions that sometimes you need somebody on the outside looking in to ask. Because when you're in the middle of building anything, and I know you can relate, building something from the ground up, sometimes your vision gets a little cloudy and you're overwhelmed because you have all of these ideas. So you need sometimes a fresh voice and a fresh set of eyes to help you see things a lot clearly. So that's something that I offer. And it's actually, if I was being honest, that's my favorite thing to do, because I'm a person that loves puzzles. And I'm a person, as a public school educator by day, I naturally respect learning curves. So when you see people having difficulty comprehending something, you have different responses from people. For example, this latest event that took place in media with Tessica Brown with the Gorilla Glue incident, and you're seeing all types of conversations being had on both sides, people being compassionate and empathetic and understanding and just comforting because it's an embarrassing situation. And then you see people on the other side, calling her, dumb and stupid and
just being rude.
Rude, and it costs nothing to be kind. And it's just, I'm a person that just really pays attention to human behavior on how one situation people will respond differently. No matter if you feel like somebody should or should not have reached out for help and how they did it, it costs nothing to be kind. So when it comes to the business and life coaching, I'm a person that's patient. However, I also hold people accountable. So there's no coddling. But I do really, really enjoy that part, because it's something very satisfying about seeing that light bulb go off for somebody who's been struggling to find the light switch and make things make sense and then go full steam ahead, because it starts to mess with your self-esteem when you can't figure something out. And then that brings in other problems. Yes.
So you gave us a lot of information about yourself, and that's exactly what I want, because I want our viewers to know who you are and what you do. Mm-hmm. But I also want them to understand why it is that you started what you started, because you said, I heard, what I caught was that you do have a 9 to 5. You have a W-2. And you say you're an educator. How long have you been an educator now?
Since 1998.
You're gonna make me count and add. So that's over 20 years. So about 23 years, going on 23 years. Okay. Mm-hmm. So as an educator, going from educator, and I want y'all to hear this, y'all, going from educator to business owner to entrepreneur, what made you decide to make that transition or make the decision to take that route?
Well, I'll put it to you like this. There's a pull that every entrepreneur has. There's a pull. There's a lot of people who are self-employed, where they're creating work for themselves. And then there are entrepreneurs who are building systems that allow them to work on their business and not in their business as much. And that was the epiphany, the biggest epiphany that I had for myself when, because my father was self-employed all my life. And so I always knew what it looked like to work those longer than normal hours. And, you know, if there's an issue, the buck stops with you and everything else like that. So there was a pull from the classroom, which I'm still 9 to 5. However, the beauty of it for me is because what I teach is very closely connected. And as a matter of fact, I use my business in the classroom to help give them real life scenarios to work through and problem solve and decision making and, you know, teamwork, leadership, all of those life skills. And that's what I teach. Family and consumer sciences. We used to call it home ec.
Yeah, that's what we called it too. Yeah, back in the day.
Everybody thought that it was just about baking cookies and sewing on a button. But it's so much more than that. It's about managing your home, whether you are head of household, the only person in the house, your character, decisions that you will make, how you impact other people with those decisions, all of those things that everybody, which is so funny to me, that the minute someone gets in trouble, someone is like, oh, they need to learn a trade. They need to learn how, you know, basic life skills. But before they get in trouble and it's not offered in schools, oh, that's just home ec. Which one is it? You know, are we important or not important? You know, that type deal. So to be able to have that pull to see that, what made me go into entrepreneurship is because you have, of course, the politics of the public school system that kind of ties your hands when you're a person like me that's a visionary. I'm very unconventional. I don't do things as people would expect me to do it. I look at who I'm teaching. I teach students. I don't teach content, meaning that I look at what their needs are and I apply it to how I can better serve them. You have people who teach students. You have people who teach content. I teach students because you can't just say, oh, this is the content that everybody needs to learn, and you throw it at them thinking, you know, it's almost like if everybody is in a room and somebody says they're cold and you put a blanket on everybody, that temperature might be individual. Right. Yeah. So the importance of differentiation and being able to get through to a person through certain shared experiences or whatever. Sometimes there's a line that you can't cross when it comes to what can be done and not done for liability purposes and all of that. And I get that. Yeah. However, there's so many innovative things that can be done if people would not be so hesitant to do the work for small changes. And so that pull to be an entrepreneur was freedom for me. It like people say, it's the freedom for me. It's the flexibility, the freedom, the ability to be able to use my voice in a way that I know they need, whoever they may be, whether it's, you know, a teenager, whether it's a young adult, even if it's one of my peers, to be able to do things the way that I see that it needs to be done and that they're requesting the help for, and not have to worry about your hand being slapped because you did something that was not traditional. So
thinking outside of the box is something that most visionaries have an issue with containing. We can't contain the creativity.
I don't try. Yeah.
And so a lot of things that you were saying, I want to piggyback off of, and that can actually kind of touch a little bit of things you were saying. So you made the distinct, clear distinction between being self-employed, being a business owner, being an entrepreneur. I need people to understand this because I talk about this all the time. A lot of people really don't understand that many times we go from being an employee to self-employed. We just created a job for ourselves.
That's it.
And a lot of people get upset when we talk about that because that's their baby. That's their pride and joy. See, here's a few things that go along with being self-employed. Most people feel like nobody can do it better than them. Mm-hmm. That's one thing. The second thing is you still have no time. You know what I'm saying? You're still trading time for money. You still have that. You don't have that freedom. And then when you get hooked on having it 100%, you're not gonna get as much done.
Right.
I tell a lot of people, because I do a lot of coaching as well. And I tell a lot of my clients that you got to get away from the 100%. If you can stomach 85%, we have something to build towards.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have to have it 100%, it's never going to get started. So that difference between being self-employed and being a business owner, then an entrepreneur, because a lot of people don't want to build businesses. A lot of people don't want to invest in themselves to build businesses. So we're talking about three different things. However, I think it is steps. I think there are steps to it. Now, I know some people that stay in self-employment that long and they move right to business ownership. Mm-hmm. And then they move right to entrepreneurship, actually, where they actually almost like they're a philanthropist in a sense, because now we're pushing our visions out. We're actually bleeding over onto people, mm-hmm. our thoughts and our visions. So I like that. I like how you made that distinction. And what I find is that a lot of people who have made the decision to cross over or to transition really don't know how to transition.
Yeah,
they really don't.
That's part of the process that if we're honest that we don't know, then that opens the door for possibilities to come for you to find out. Because there's nothing worse than being uncoachable, unteachable, that you know everything and that there's nothing else for you to learn. Well, if there's nothing else for you to learn, why are you here? Why are you here? And the best educator, because for me, there's a difference between a teacher and an educator, but the best educator is also a phenomenal student. And I tell a lot of people in conversations when we're talking about this whole process of entrepreneurship that one thing that I learned that saved me from myself was that I was so confident in my abilities that I had no problem at all putting a microscope on my flaws, because it does not dismiss my value. If anything, it made my strengths that much stronger, because there's nothing that you can say to me that I haven't already said to myself. We all know imposter syndrome, self-doubt, all that. We all deal with that. And that goes back to a lot of, physiological things that, trauma passed down from generation to generation, especially as Black people. People don't go that deeply sometimes. They think, well, just let me get a Cash App or a PayPal and, DM for the price and everything. And I'm like, how long you plan on doing that? It's okay to start out that way. It's okay, because I get it. I built my business on a BlackBerry. I didn't say on a smartphone or on a BlackBerry. So that's,
I understand. Yeah.
And that was while I was homeless. All I knew was that I believed in better. And in order for me to believe in better, I had to do better as I could. There were a lot of sacrifices that I made. When a lot of people wanted to go on, we're going to go out to eat. We're going to go on this trip. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And I had my head down into my notebooks and my journals, writing out processes and ideas. Some of those things worked. Some of them did not work, but I would not have been able to find out had I not applied those actions after that idea. Ideas are fantastic, but they don't mean a thing
without application.
Something.
Absolutely.
And it's okay to fail. It's okay to fail. And it's also okay to be afraid. There's a debate about, there's no such thing as fear. I was even one of those people who was saying, fear is nothing. But if it's nothing, why am I feeling it? It's attached to different things of doubt and being triggered about how maybe you were treated or perfect example, like we just said about the Gorilla Glue incident, the trauma of all of that. And, I looked at an interview and she said that she really only came to social media trying to find solutions because she tried everything. And I'm more than certain that she went to people around her first, and she probably got ridiculed and mocked and everything because, family and friends, we're known for doing that. And we do it in jest and love, However, she didn't find any answers. So she was like, somebody got to know something. And I can relate to that when I just spoke about building my business while I was homeless, and nobody knew. Nobody knew. And I was trying to do everything on my own because I was like, I got to figure this out. This is nobody else's problem. Yet I was getting exhausted. My son was seeing me broken down and crying too much, and I said, something got to give. I got to do the uncomfortable thing about presenting this in a way that's not making me look like a victim. It's not making me look helpless. It's just that I need some help.
I need some help.
Yeah. And I can relate to her being mocked and ridiculed because I had people that responded to me with love. And then I had somebody tell me, stop saying you're homeless. And I'm like, okay, so what should you say? Without a roof? I mean, what you want me to say? And it was just very bizarre. It was very bizarre. And one thing that showed me the dynamic of people's mindsets was, I will never forget, one morning around 4-ish, a little bit before I was getting ready to wake up. We were in one of the 50 billion motels that we were staying in. And I was getting ready to start my routine of getting up and start walking to work, which was over an hour away. And
wow.
One of my friends that I went to high school with caught wind that I, was in the situation. And so I was like, hey, he was like, first of all, you all right? That's probably one of the first people who asked me if I was okay, and that helped. And he said, tell me what's going on. What do you need? And from that point on, the conversation really lit up when he said, yeah, so-and-so called me and asked me if I heard about you. And he told me, he said, I asked him, he said, why in the hell you ain't asking her what
why didn't you do anything about it? Yeah.
And when he said that, I got choked up, because for somebody to go to bat for me like that, instead of making me the hot topic, of course, people can say, well, you put your business out there. I was asking for help. After everything that I was doing was not working. And from the time that I made myself vulnerable and believed in better and did the uncomfortable thing, my life changed. It helped. I didn't just sit back and let everybody do stuff for me. I was like, okay, they were asking me, what do I need? And those are 4 words that a lot of people don't ask. They'll be like, call me if you need me. But not too many will say, what do you need? Because now that puts the ball in your court to actually follow up that almighty action. So, my whole point is that, as we are going through the process of entrepreneurship, and you see how people are responding to, whether they're going to be a business owner, self-employed, or entrepreneur, just like you say, a lot of people get upset with that. Take the information and do with it as you will, because we can't fight other people's battles. All we're responsible for is presenting the information and providing a hand up when someone's like, you know what, I'm tired of going to the DMs to get this, and I can't keep track of the sales, and but I want to apply for this grant, but I don't have anything to give them. And then you're not showing income, you're not showing money, you're not showing. See, and so first of all, I commend you. I commend you, first of all, for being transparent. That's the first thing, because in our journey through transparency, we're gonna get looked at differently. But some will, some won't. So what? Who cares? Somebody needs to hear that story, and a testimony is only a testimony until is when you pass the test. Right. Once you pass that test, now you pass that message on, and somebody else needs to hear that could be going through something similar. The exact same thing. It could be a young lady or a young man that's out there being abused, that's experiencing some type of trauma, to know that, if you open up just a little bit, that expression, the closed mouth don't get fed. We have not because we ask not. The word of God says that knock and the door shall be open. Seek and we shall find, ask and we shall receive. And God, it's something. See, people don't understand.
You know, and I thank God, first of all, and I should have started off with this, so I apologize. I thank God for allowing us to be here because there's so many things that could have been going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's so many things that could have been, that are going on in the world that we could have not been here. And I thank him for allowing us to meet through an associate, through a mutual friend, that brought us together. But I also thank him for letting me hear now, because I had some other ideas about how this conversation was going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk about that later. But this is off the chain. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. This is off the chain. Listen, I want you to understand something. Your story is unique to you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also unique to someone who needs to hear it.
Right.
But I commend you for being transparent, because not a lot of people would tell even a part. And I'm sure it's so much more, and we're not going to go there. I'm sure it's so much more. But the thing of it is you've gone through the storm and you're making it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with, see, when people say they failed, I failed. It's okay to fail as long as you fail forward.
Mm-hmm.
And get up and keep on moving. But it's the people who don't try, the people who get beat one time, the people who take a loss instead of a learn. It's a lot of people out there who are not getting it. You said something else, and it reminded me of being in the military. You talked about building systems.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first thing that I learned, because I went on several deployments, about 6 of them. And I learned early on that systems save lives.
Yes, it does.
And if you can build a system, if you create a system, if you can create a product, if you can create something, a process, now you have organization. Now you have something to go by and something to stand on and something to fall back on.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, for all the people who are out there looking at this, if you're just jumping on, we're coming to a half an hour. And I want to be mindful of the time. But I want everyone to understand that if you're watching this young lady is telling us about her journey. So there's a young lady out there looking at you right now that's saying, hey, it's hard. Yes, it is. Nobody said it was going to be easy. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that you give up. That doesn't mean that you quit. You may have to readjust. You may have to take a different route. You may have to do something different. You said we have to be coachable. We have to be teachable. We also have to be available. I hear a lot of people talking about they don't have time, but you got time to do, you got time to do all other types of stuff, but you don't have time to improve yourself, to improve for your generations. And you talked about building generational wealth. Let us know how we can get in touch with you, because I'm sure there's somebody out there. And well, if you can, while I'm talking, if you can you take some time and type it into the chats how we can get in touch with you? Yeah. Because guys, if you just jumping on, we have an amazing interview and testimony and journey, because you're still going, from Miss Erica Alcox, that's talking about how she is an entrepreneur. She is an educator by trait. That's how she started. She's an educator, but she's always, from what I can hear, has been a visionary. And you can't stop that. You know, we can't stop that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to do me a favor. Comment when she puts her information on there. Don't just hit her up asking for stuff. Okay, don't do that. If you're serious and you're inquiring about some ways ahead, then make sure you reach out to her. Okay, make sure you reach out to her. What I'd like you to do, as we bring this to a close, I appreciate your time. I'd like you to leave us with some words. Okay, if you had some words to share with us right now, okay, what would you tell the audience? Someone who is struggling, somebody who's struggling internally, externally, they have the bad or the wrong people around them. What would you tell someone going forward?
It's very interesting that you asked me that, because you talk about my story and there's a lot more, and I actually have a book called You Smell Like Outside.
Really? Let me see.
You Smell Like Outside, Uncomfortable but Necessary Conversations. And if you go on to, and I think I just sent you a message in private chat, alcoxenterprises.com, but if you go to yslo.club, CLUB, it'll take you directly to this book.
yslo.club. Okay.
And this book is a conversation with myself. I'm allowing people to see my failures and allow my failures to be their tools for success. So to answer your question about what would I tell somebody who may be looking, who may be feeling like this is their last straw, they pretty much have lost hope, and their circumstances to the physical eye is saying you need to sit down, it's done. I get it. I understand. However, we're not to look at things with the physical eye. We are to look at things with our third eye, with our heart, with our soul, with the belief. You have to believe in better. So what I want to read is something called The Process. And for those of you that have the book already, it's on page 23. And this is something to give context. This was something that I wrote as a Facebook status one day after I caught wind. You know how you get alerts and notifications that somebody is saying something on a post, and just happened to read a comment that somebody was actually referring to me, and it wasn't very kind, and it was hurtful because it was somebody who I held in high regard. So, you know, I had to take a moment and process that. And while I was processing, I said, this is part of the process. So I have something entitled called The Process that says, elevation requires separation. Separation initiates isolation. Isolation allows for meditation. Meditation nurtures imagination. Imagination encourages cogitation. Cogitation influences activation. Activation laced with audacity breeds manifestation. Recognize the process, respect the process, embrace the process. You're not going to get anywhere until you understand and fully understand that the process is made to break apart the old part of you that's not going to serve the highest self version of you. So there are going to be things that don't feel good, that don't sound good. However, it is good, because there's never anything that's going to be presented to you that's going to be for your downfall, unless you're going down a path intentionally to sabotage yourself. So embrace the process after you've realized what the process is.
Awesome. 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 I don't have any other words other than awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I just pulled up your website. I will be supporting you and purchasing your book. And I recommend that everyone else goes out and actually supports the sister and check it out. See what it's about. You know what I'm saying? This is what we're doing. Okay. Do me a favor, ladies and gentlemen, get on her link, YSLO.CLUB. Support her. Your book is You Smell Like Outside.
Yes. And I let me give this disclaimer that it is a very candid selection, but it has, I'll just give you the feedback that I've gotten from other readers. It's not even 100 pages, but it's so jam-packed with jewels that, because I want people to be able to feel like they can finish the book. I don't need a long time to make a point. I think that's why my students love me, because I don't go on and on and on. But it brings to the forefront things that sometimes is taboo to talk about with people because you feel like you may be judged or dismissed. Well, I'm having that conversation with myself. So allow my discomfort to be your comfort so that you can get past the uncomfortable stuff. So, and yes, I cuss in the book and whatnot. However, when you see how I talk about it and the things that I talk about, I think the whole package will be appreciated.
Well, thank you very much. Like I said, I will be, and I'm not just saying this, y'all, because I'm supporting everybody that's on here. So y'all mess around and y'all get a book as a gift. A couple of my guests. So listen, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you. Every minute of your time, every second of your time is valuable. So Thank you for allowing us to share some of it. To everyone out there who sees this, like it, share it, tag someone, get on her link, and share some time with her by actually purchasing her book. Don't just look at a website, purchase the book, and you may see some other services that she can assist you with as far as your growth and your business and your journey. So thank you, everybody, once again. My name is Eric McKinley, Director of Program Development of National Business Builders. You just seen an interview with Miss Erica Alcox of Alcox Enterprises. She does everything, y'all. She does a little bit of everything. And I'm going to tell you, jack of all trades, master of most. That's what I say. Jack of all trades, master of most. So, hey, like I always say, ladies and gentlemen, when you know better, that's when you have the ability to do better. And the only knowledge that's powerful is properly applied knowledge. Check us out in the morning at when we have our Friday morning talk with National BB on our Friday morning, guys. We got another amazing guest. Once again, thank y'all for tuning in. Excuse me. Y'all take care. And I'll see y'all at the top because there's too many people struggling at the bottom. Right. Y'all have a good